How are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
I think they can hear you at the Wells Fargo.
Um, my name is Roberto Perez, and I'm the CEO of HRP Group, the development arm for overseeing the Bellwether District. I want to welcome all of you. We're very excited to host you and very proud to show you our progress here at our project. I want to give a special welcome to Bill Sasso, our colleague, our partner in our consigliere, Rick Seiger, DCED, Secretary Seiger right here, Secretary Mike Carroll, PennDOT right here, Ryan Boyer, Business Manager, and Secretary Jessica Churley, DEP. In 2020, we made the decision to go all in on Philadelphia and purchase the largest refinery east of the Mississippi for the purposes of decommissioning it, demolishing it, and turning the space into a new home for industry and innovation. Since then, we have removed nearly 18 million gallons of hydrocarbon, 950 miles of pipeline, and 2,200 tons of asbestos. We have also moved over 2 million cubic yards of soil, so we can elevate all infrastructure above the 100-year floodplain in buildings at the 500-year floodplain. Redeveloping the site is complex and is of a major scale, but none of it will be possible without a strong public-private partnership that we have with the Commonwealth and the city. We have found no better partner than the leadership of Governor Shapiro and the city of Philadelphia. Governor, just 1 year ago, we stood here together and broke ground on this building that is now virtually complete. That day I said that I believe the energy and vision you bring to the table will be the difference maker for businesses looking to invest in Philadelphia. Every day since, you and your administration has backed the vision up with actions. Transforming a site of this scale and creating thousands of new jobs takes business, government, labor, and institutions all working together, plus a little bit of imagination and a lot of grit. I firmly believe that together we're going to demonstrate that in this city, this Commonwealth, and in this country, we can innovate and do big things together. Thank you, Governor. Your vision for the Commonwealth is an inspiration, and we're proud to be part of it. It's my now privilege to introduce Governor Shapiro.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank
you.
Thanks, Roberto. You know, Roberto, I think you figured out the Philly way. We combine innovation and grit, and we know how to get stuff done here. And we're grateful to you and to your team for all that you've done to bet on Philadelphia and bet on the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're proud to be your partners, and it's exciting for me to be back here at Bellwether. You know, every time I come here, every several weeks or so, you just see this place coming alive, and the vision that you and Jeff and your team had, you know, years ago, candidly was hard maybe for me to see, but now every time I come back, you see more and more of it. This is one of the most exciting economic development projects in the entire country, and it's happening right here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we are incredibly proud to be your partners in it together with the city of Philadelphia. You know, when I took office as your governor, my goal was to make Pennsylvania far more competitive and to be far more aggressive in that space, to put people to work and to help Pennsylvanians create more prosperity. We knew that we needed to take some very concrete steps in order to achieve that goal. First, we needed to put the right people in place to do this work. People like our DCED Secretary, Rick Seiger, who joins us here today, who leads the Department of Community and Economic Development. And people like Ben Kirshner, who leads the Office of Transformation and Opportunity. That was first. Second, we knew we needed a plan. You know, for about 20 years, the Commonwealth invested in economic development, but didn't have a clear strategy. So we came up with one. We wrote an economic development strategy that doesn't sit on a shelf somewhere in Harrisburg, but it is what we use every day to help us make decisions on where to drive out resources and how to spend our time. And third, we knew we needed more resources and more tools to be competitive, to be able to beat out other states for big projects like this, and to be able to put points on the board for the good people of Pennsylvania. So we worked with lawmakers on a bipartisan basis to appropriate real funding to make Pennsylvania more competitive. From building pads and shovel-ready sites for major industrial projects through our PA Sites initiative, to revitalizing our main streets and small businesses that form the backbone of every community across Pennsylvania, rural, urban, and suburban. We focused on a few key areas in our economy where we saw real opportunity to drive progress and innovation. We have seen dramatic increases in that funding thanks to the bipartisan cooperation that we've been able to bring about. $1 billion, over $1 billion in new funding just this year focused on economic development. That's a huge lift from where we were. And I want to thank the lawmakers for working with us to get that done. So that is what we've needed to do. Put the people in place, have a plan, and have the resources. But it's not just those three things that are going to create economic opportunity and success. It's also a fourth piece, and that is what we're here to talk about today, speeding up government so we can get stuff done. I recognize that time is money. It's true for business, and it is true for our workers. I know our Philadelphia building trades, led by Ryan Boyer, and our other unions understand that, construction workers only get paid once the job starts. That same logic, by the way, applies to the local barber who's trying to open up a new barber shop and needs a license from the Commonwealth in order to start cutting hair. We need to move quickly to get big projects built and to get Pennsylvanians on the job faster. Pennsylvanians deserve a Commonwealth that works as hard as they do, and that is what we try and deliver in my administration, what we are successfully delivering in my administration every day. Now listen, I realize this may sound a bit boring, but I get excited about this stuff, about speeding up government through the way we process permits and licenses and certifications. That stuff is really, really critical. It touches everyone's life, whether you're trying to revitalize an old refinery like Bellwether, you're starting a career as a teacher, you want to be a dental technician. In fact, about 1 million Pennsylvanians need some sort of occupational license just to go to work in Pennsylvania. With a workforce that's just over 6 million, that puts in some perspective just how critical those licenses are. And most businesses that operate here need a permit or a license in order to operate. The speed at which you get that permit or that license can mean the difference between opening up your new business on time and on budget or falling behind from the start. Look, I actually called my own barber to find out how much time meant in his pocket. I said to him, "How many haircuts do you do a day?" He told me he does about 15 haircuts a day, which, by the way, seems like a lot of haircuts to do in one day. If your local barber shop, think about this, opens just 5 days late, that's 75 missed haircuts, 75 missed opportunities for that barber to put money in his or her pocket. That's missed revenue for a small business. It's also missed revenue for a massive enterprise like what we're here at today in Bellwether. And so that is why my administration has focused like a laser beam, yes, on putting people in place, yes, on having a plan, yes, on making sure we have the resources, but also critically making sure that we as a government are moving at the speed of business here in Pennsylvania. And we've taken 3 concrete steps in order to move more quickly. First, in my first month as your governor, I signed an executive order directing all Pennsylvania agencies to review every single state license or permit or certification they offer, and then set a time frame within which they would be bound to reviewing them going forward. We discovered that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania issues 2,400 of those licenses and permits, and we knew that really for the first time as a result of this executive order. With that information, we launched the Pennsylvania Payback System, a money-back guarantee for the good people of Pennsylvania, basically stating this: we will tell you how long it will take for you to get your license. If we fail to deliver that on time, we will give you your money back. I'm proud to tell you that after launching this, we have only had to issue 3 refunds across the entire state. We're moving at the speed of business, and we're proud of how quick that goes. And I have to give special credit to the aforementioned Ben Kirshner, who leads our Office of Transformation and Opportunity, and David Wade, his Chief of Staff. They do extraordinary work building this system and making sure that we are speeding up government. Let me give you a few examples of that. I mentioned before, businesses need to get that business license. Nearly every one of them, big businesses and small businesses. The day I took the oath of office to serve as your governor, it took 8 weeks to get that license. Today, it takes just 3 days to get the same license. Moving at the speed of business. We cut the turnaround time for cosmetology and barbershop licenses from 2 weeks. Remember, I talked about my barber, 15 haircuts a day. 2 weeks to less than 1 day. So we have saved them about 14 days worth of time. And we cut the time it takes to process a new teacher's certification down by 10 whole weeks. That's 10 more weeks a teacher can be in the classroom educating our kids. This is great stuff, and it's really significant progress. And it puts money in people's pockets and delivers critical services on time. I want to say a special thanks to Secretary Shirley of the Department of Environmental Protection, who joins us here today in the front row. At DEP, we reduced the permit backlog by 75%. 75%. That is extraordinary. Now listen, I've been around a while here working in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Folks love to blame DEP for every issue they have when they're building a project. You can't blame Secretary Shirley anymore. She is moving at the speed of business and getting it done, and we are grateful to you for your commitment on that. I would also note that none of those 3 refunds that we had to issue through the payback system came out of DEP's pockets. They've issued every permit on time. So that's the first thing that we did in order to speed up our process. Second, I signed a new law this summer, a law that was brought about with Republican and Democratic votes, to take the progress that we've seen at DEP and actually supercharge that and go even further. The law known as the SPEED program puts real resources into DEP to make permitting even faster and even smoother than before. So first we signed that executive order speeding it up, then I signed a new law in order to go even further. And I want you to know, for those who have been observing the Capitol over many years, this has been a problem that Republicans and Democrats have talked about for years and years and years. And all they ever did before was point fingers at one another. As the only governor in the nation with a divided legislature, we figured out a way to bring Democrats and Republicans together to get that done. And I want to say a special thanks to Chairwoman Morgan Cephas, who joins us here today, one of the leaders of that effort in getting it done in the House of Representatives. Thank you, Representative Cephas. We appreciate you. So listen, we are moving more quickly now. And so thanks to those first 2 steps. Today, we are all gathered here at Bellwether for a third step that I think will make us even faster and even more transparent in how we do business in the Commonwealth. So to build on that original executive order I signed and the law we signed earlier this year, I'm today going to sign an executive order creating the first ever Pennsylvania permit FastTrack initiative. Using FastTrack, we're going to speed up permitting for big, complex, major economic development and infrastructure projects all across Pennsylvania. Let me explain specifically how this works. The Office of Transformation and Opportunity, led by Ben Kirshner, will identify major projects that require permits from multiple agencies, permits like the Bellwether District. You may wonder why we're joined today by both the PennDOT Secretary and the DEP Secretary, because this is an example where both agencies are going to be called on to participate in getting this project off the ground. And I got to say a special thanks to Secretary Carroll. You may know him as the guy who lived out of his van over in Northeast Philadelphia when we repaired I-95 in just 12 days. But he also has an office in Harrisburg, in our state capital, and is doing a hell of a job as our PennDOT secretary. And we are grateful to you for being here today. These big complex projects like Bellwether are really important in order for us to streamline and organize around. Projects like a new technology campus that's going to power future innovation in northeastern Pennsylvania, or a methane digester at a dairy farm in western PA that's going to produce energy for a rural community. Those are 3 examples of projects that are going to go through this system, coordinating through these different agencies as a result of this executive order that I'm about to sign. Ben and his team are going to take the lead on coordinating between our external partners and our internal agencies. They'll do all the groundwork necessary to help permitting processes run more smoothly by bringing the right folks together to share information and share and increase coordination and technology. They'll ensure projects are talking to the right people at the right agencies, from DEP to LNI to PennDOT and all of the other agencies involved. Our entire administration is bought in. I want to again say a special thanks to Secretary Shirley, Secretary Carroll, Secretary Seiger, and Agriculture Secretary Redding, who couldn't join us today. They are working together to help get this done. Ultimately, we think FastTrack will bring better permitting experience with far more certainty, more clarity, and better results for everyone. We're so confident that FastTrack is in this process that as part of FastTrack, we are launching a publicly facing dashboard where the public will be able to see the timelines for each project and be able to see the permit that it requires to get this done. You can follow along from home at the progress we're making in Pennsylvania. I think that is unprecedented transparency and accountability in our permitting process, and we are not aware of any other state that has a similar initiative to what we are launching here in Pennsylvania today. I want you to know FastTrack is not just some conceptual idea. It is already working. Ben and his team over the last few months have piloted FastTrack with a few projects around the Commonwealth, including right here at Bellwether. Our team helped ensure that they submit complete applications and, of course, receive their permits on time. And so when we're talking about a project like this that's going to create 28,000 construction jobs and 19,000 permanent jobs when all is said and done, that is a big deal. And we have the burden of responsibility to move quickly so we can get this project and others like it off the ground. We're helping the good folks at Hilco, and ultimately we believe that by them building here, that creates real freedom and real opportunity for the good people of Pennsylvania, and it is creating something that is extraordinary right here in South Philly, taking an old refinery and creating massive opportunity for Pennsylvanians for decades to come. FastTrack is going to help us cut through the red tape that oftentimes slows or stymies progress like this and projects like this, and to get it done. Listen, I realize that it can be, maybe a little bit nerdy to get so passionate about this kind of stuff, about permits, about applications, about making government move more quickly. But you see, I'm a believer in government, and this is the way government is supposed to work. We're supposed to work hand in hand with our citizens. We're supposed to work quickly, and we're supposed to have the attitude like those sports teams behind us have, that we got to put points on the board every day for the good people of Pennsylvania. We've got to be able to get stuff done. And I'm mindful that people get frustrated with government, Democrats and Republicans alike, when they see their government not working efficiently, when they see their government not actually getting the job done. And so part of this, I hope, cures some of the cynicism that exists out there and proves that Pennsylvania can be not just a leader on economic development, but a leader in government innovation, that we can prove that we are able to move quickly, put people to work, and create those opportunities for prosperity that I spoke about earlier today. I firmly believe government can be a force for good in people's lives, and this is yet another example of our administration doing that work. I'm honored to serve every single day as the 48th governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, focusing like a laser beam every day on meeting the needs of Pennsylvanians and focusing every single day on getting shit done for the good people of Pennsylvania. I've got a lot of partners in progress. You heard of several of my cabinet officials who are here, but it's now my pleasure to invite up Ben Kirshner to say a few words. You know, Ben was a fabulously successful entrepreneur in the private sector. He was on the plan to retire before he was 50 years old until we dragged him out of retirement and brought him here to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because we wanted him to bring his private sector mentality and approach to everything we do. And in leading the Office of Transformation and Opportunity, that's exactly what he's done. He's a big reason why we are making great strides on economic development, and a huge reason why we're making government work at the speed of business. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Kirshner.
Thank you, everybody. How did we get here today? The truth is, we have Governor Shapiro to thank. He was the visionary behind our office, and he actually took the time to listen to the business community and put it into action, take the feedback and put it into action. In his first week in office, he created 3 executive orders all around economic development. He finally said, Pennsylvania is open for business. When he was on the campaign trail, he heard from the business community, it takes too damn long to get a permit. Is that a good impression?
Yes.
Yeah. It takes too damn long to get a permit. We're reactive, we're not proactive. And it's tough to get answers quickly from the state. He said, Ben, can you fix all the business problems in PA? I said, sure, I'll give it a try. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to talk to you quickly about our journey in our Office of Transformation over the past 2 years. First, David Wade joined as my chief of staff, and he is the best partner I could have asked for to lead all of the office. David and I went on a listening tour to the business community when we first got in, and we came up with and devised some solutions. Step 1 was creating a concierge-like service where we recruited top talent from the 3 different permitting agencies, DEP, PennDOT, and Ag. We now offer a VIP customer service experience approach, helping the business community navigate the permitting agencies. Speed and service is what the private sector wants. Step 2, as the governor mentioned, was creating payback. Along with OGC, the Policy Office, IT, HR, and Code PA, we introduced the first in the country money-back guarantee. We built accountability into the system. And today we're proud to roll out Step 3, which is the dashboarding portion of our offering, which brings transparency to the entire project scope, not only from the state agencies, but local government and utilities. Service and coordination, accountability, and transparency is what this EO solidifies. We are now the first state in the country to offer this type of solution to significant economic development projects. Today wouldn't be possible without the willing partners like HRP Group, North Point, and Grupo, who gave us their time, experience, and insights. Thanks to them, we're able to put this idea into practice. And I cannot talk about economic development without mentioning our leader at the state, Secretary Rick Seiger. Secretary Seiger has led our administration in creating the first economic development strategy in over 20 years. In that plan, which can be found at pagetitdone.com, free download by the way, specifically on page 36 it says, under the title, Government at the Speed of Business, we will cut through red tape and foster collaboration across state agencies and reform state permitting process with a focus on customer experience. So I'm proud to say, Mr. Secretary, you can officially check page 36 off your to-do list. We are so proud in OTO to play our part of the plan and grateful to you and DCD for your partnership. I also want to acknowledge the secretaries of PennDOT, Secretary Carroll, Secretary Shirley from DEP, Secretary Redding of Ag, Secretary Walker from L&I, and Secretary Moomin from Ed. All of these secretaries are rowing in the same direction to our administration's motto of GSD, and it's a pleasure to partner with you all. Now I'd like to introduce Brian Stahl from North Point. Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Ben, thank you very much for that introduction. Thank you, Governor Shapiro. We are honored to be here with you today to share in this momentous occasion. Before I begin the official remarks, I just want to say thank you for listening. But more importantly, thank you for taking action to help address issues that we saw in the business community. And without the proactive steps that you and your administration are taking, we certainly wouldn't be making the progress here in Pennsylvania. At North Point Development, we are the #1 privately held developer across the country. Although we're coast to coast, Pennsylvania really does play a special part of our story. To date, we've invested over $3 billion here in the Commonwealth and created over 14,000 permanent jobs, and our journey here has only just begun. Economic development is the engine that drives prosperity in our communities. To truly unlock the potential of our local economies, collaboration between public and private sector is absolutely essential. We at North Point Development stand proudly alongside Governor Shapiro and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in advancing economic growth and opportunity. Today's executive order strengthens that critical partnership between private developers and permitting agencies, fostering a streamlined, transparent, and effective process. This collaboration accelerates the investments in our communities and ensures that projects that can create meaningful jobs, generate vital tax revenue, and further strengthen the economy in Pennsylvania are able to move forward in a timely manner. The FastTrack program helps to address a critical challenge to economic growth, and that's the overly complex permitting process. The FastTrack program works wonders to eliminate the delays and cut red tape to provide an efficient pathway built on transparency to get projects off the ground quickly and responsibly. For our technology project, the FastTrack program has allowed our project team to meet with each of the critical agencies that will touch our project and create a foundation from which we can build. We've met all of the key players that are going to be reviewing our permit applications. They understand our project before an application comes in the door, which is just so critical. As well, we understand what the expectation, the obligations are on our side. Capital goes where capital is welcome. This executive order not only fosters confidence among investors, but also establishes the Commonwealth as a national leader in economic innovation. By prioritizing efficiency and collaboration, we are laying the foundation for a more prosperous and equitable future for all residents. Together, we can build a stronger, more vibrant community where opportunity thrives for all. Today's executive order sends the clear message that Pennsylvania is here to get stuff done. Next, I'd like to introduce Shelley Cameron from the Greater Philadelphia Chamber.
Thanks for those remarks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Governor Shapiro, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all of the member companies that the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia represents, we are so very grateful for what you're doing for us today. Now look, I could repeat a lot of what you've already heard up here on stage, but what I'd like to say is I'm usually the person standing up in front of crowds like this, in front of elected officials and others saying we need a government that's more accountable. And I'm usually the one saying, you've got to do it faster. You've got to do it now. Come on, let's go.
We heard you.
I know. And that's why I'm here to say we are so excited that we are actually here. Governor Shapiro, from day one, you promised that you were going to do this. And we believed and we hoped. And then you were so aggressive about it that it was just amazing. So again, we are thrilled. So for those of you who don't know what the Chamber of Commerce does in this region, through the work of our Select Greater Philadelphia brand, we help companies grow, expand, and locate their businesses in our region. So we hear about the pain that comes with getting things started every single day. I listen to a lot of businesses every day, and I hear consistently that predictability, transparency, and certainty are what make a difference. Because why? Because that helps you mitigate risk. That helps you to manage all of the unexpected things that are going to pop up. But if you know at least that the process with the government is predictable, it makes all the difference in the world. When business leaders can rely on accurate forecasting and scheduling, they can pursue additional development. Today's first-in-the-nation FastTrack system is going to take this a step even further. And it'll make it even better by giving us process certainty so that our businesses can continue to create jobs and make a difference in this economy. Governor Shapiro and your entire team have been terrific to work with, and we are so, so very grateful. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you. Thank you. So now I'm going to sign the executive order, and then I'll return to take a few questions with Ben afterwards. Get in nice and tight. All right. Ready? We good? We're good. Okay. This is actually the legal one, so I got to give it to the lawyers here. Make sure it gets filed.
Well, I'm not the lawyer.
All right,
I'll make sure the lawyers get it.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
We'll take a few questions. Ben, you want to go?
Yeah, Ben, he's still like
All right, we'll take a few questions, if there are any.
Hi, Governor. This is Fallon from the Inquirer. Could you respond to GOP calls for you to intervene in the U.S. Senate recount and speak out against it to avoid wasting taxpayer money on an effort that will not change the outcome?
You want me to respond to a press release from the state GOP? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, calls from the GOP to intervene in the recount.
Look, state law calls for a recount if an election is within a certain margin, which the U.S. Senate race is. It's up to the candidates to determine whether or not they want to waive that recount. Senator Casey chose not to waive that recount. I would note, by the way, that Dave McCormick, when he was a failed candidate for Senate 2 years ago, also chose not to waive the recount in that race. That'll continue to play out. And the most important thing is that the will of the people be respected, that all the votes are counted, and that ultimately a winner is determined based on the will of the people.
Governor, on this order.
Do y'all think I should answer a question from a guy in a Yankees jacket in the shadow of Citizens Bank Park?
We won in
Anybody want me to answer his question?
2009.
You're out of luck, man.
All right. On the executive order, I'm just curious. Is the administration approaching projects they think need the fast track, or are projects asking you guys, hey, we think we qualify for this, will you help us out?
It's a great question. The three projects that we're working with now on a pilot basis, Ben Kirshner went and found them. It is our hope that as we get rolling on this initiative, it'll be a two-way street, that we'll see projects coming in, oftentimes through DCD, and say, you know what, you should be part of the fast track system. But we also have made clear we're open for business and we're moving quickly. And I know that there will be other developers, other folks who want to invest here who are going to hear this announcement today and approach us to be a part of it. So I think it'll be a two-way street. Anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say this tool gives us a competitive advantage over other states. And we talk to businesses all the time, and they tell us, the three reasons they choose to move to a state. One is money, two is people, and three is permits. So this gives us a real competitive advantage over other states, something no other state has.
Yeah.
Hi, Governor. Nigel Thompson with KYW News Radio. As you know, SEPTA continues negotiating a new contract with its workers, and SEPTA has said throughout these talks, and even before that, that it's still hoping for some new funding from the state. I'm just here to ask if you have any updated plans from the state and how you're sort of following those talks.
Sure. Well, hear me on this. Mass transit is vitally important to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's critically important to those who ride it, It's critically important for our businesses to be able to get their employees there, for our schools and for our other institutions. I think mass transit is vitally important. And obviously SEPTA is critical here in southeastern Pennsylvania, and SEPTA has some unique challenges. I proposed in my state budget about a year or so ago a massive investment in mass transit statewide and funding that would be recurring year after year after year, so our mass transit agencies would have predictability going forward for their riders and to support our seniors and those in the community that need mass transit. My proposal was passed 3 times in the House of Representatives, and each and every time the Senate refused to act. The ball is squarely in the Senate's court. They've refused to move forward on it. They asked me to consider marrying it together with funding for roads and bridges. I agreed to that. They asked me to consider marrying it together with a regulation and taxation of skill games. I agreed to that conceptually, yet they failed to act. And then they ended their session without moving those House bills forward. So now we find ourselves in a situation that is somewhat unique to SEPTA right now, where they are really, really struggling. And I want to make very clear, I will not let SEPTA fail. SEPTA is critically important, not just to southeastern Pennsylvania, but all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'll have more to say on some actions my administration may take. We're working hard to consider what steps we can take to shore up SEPTA, and I'll have some more to say on that over the coming weeks.
Governor Shapiro, if I can have one follow-up question to that, sir.
I'm just going to ask you to speak up slower.
Absolutely. Governor Shapiro, John Colt, the Pennsylvania Capital Star. Just one follow-up question to that, then something unrelated, if you don't mind, sir. Just about, I know Representative Ben Waxman he posted on social media the other day that he sent a letter advocating to use flex federal infrastructure funds to prevent SEPTA service cuts and fare increases. Is that something you would consider?
As I said, I'll have more to say on SEPTA in the coming weeks. There's no substitution for the fact that the legislature hasn't gotten a bill to my desk. I've been calling for this for a year. I think the Senate needs to get serious about moving forward on this. The proposal put forth, I didn't see it, so I'm counting on what you said to react to it by Representative Waxman, who's a really good representative and working hard on this issue. What he's proposing is a stopgap measure. We need a long-term solution, but I also recognize that we can't let SEPTA fail, and I'll have more to say about this in the coming weeks.
And then one last question that's not related to this, but you talked about, the sports teams playing not far from this area in South Philadelphia. A few months ago, I asked your thoughts about a New Jersey proposal. They're trying to get a Sixers arena there. Right now, there's public hearings going on in City Hall about a potential Sixers arena in Center City. So what are your thoughts on the Sixers potentially building their next arena at Market East?
The Sixers belong in Philly, and City Council is now taking up the mayor's proposal. I'm not going to get ahead of City Council. They're going to go through their process. I think what the Sixers also now need is better team defense. They need to stop committing so many turnovers. They got to wake up from whatever slumber they're in. I mean, I may be the biggest Sixers fan in the entire state, and I'm just disgusted by the way they're playing right now. They got to do better.
One more.
By the way, they probably have the best roster on paper than they've had in the last, 10 or 15 years, and they got to start sinking. I'm a believer, and I think they're going to get it turned around, but they got to get it turned around quick.
Joshua Juniata needs to make a call.
There you go. I'll be calling into sports radio as an angry Sixers fan later today. You just told him my secret name, man. Why'd you do that?
Hey, Governor.
Hey.
Sheree Darton with Scoop. I think I always get to be your last question for some reason. With regard to this executive order in minority businesses, are minority businesses or preference tied into this fast track so that minority people can be married? As a minority owner, I would love to be able to say that I would be located in something like this, or I would be a part of it.
Absolutely. Increasing small diverse business procurement has been a priority of my administration. I've signed 2 executive orders on that, and we've seen actually an increase in the number of state contracts going to small diverse business by over 30% from the day I took office. We're happy to give you the exact contracts and the exact numbers on that. But that's been a big priority of my administration, to use the purchasing power of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to strengthen our small, diverse businesses, to give them the opportunity to compete for projects like this. Oftentimes in the past, on a huge project like this, many of which would fall under PennDOT, small businesses, small diverse businesses never really even got off the ground when it came to competing for those contracts. It's one of the reasons why when I signed the executive order earlier this year on small diverse businesses, I didn't just include the Department of General Services that oversees a lot of our procurement. We included PennDOT as well under Secretary Carroll's leadership, so that we're bringing all of our different agencies to bear that do major procurement in the Commonwealth with a particular focus on small, diverse business. I'm really proud of the progress we're making. We also have in that, I believe it's a 6-month report requirement every 6 months, because we want to be held accountable for our progress in that space. And we'll be happy to get you the most updated statistics we have. We're making real progress, and thank you for asking the question. All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate everybody.